What's going on, people? It's me, Vic Purcell, and this is Now Until Up. This is a podcast about fitness racing, hybrid fitness racing. I would say really just people who are pushing themselves in athletic endeavors. I'm going to have some people on here that are not in the fitness racing space in terms of, HYROX, DECA, because I know some people who compete in other sports. I got connections with people that are, either pro or ex-pro athletes in other spaces. But I think there's always value added when you have people sharing their experiences. So basically today we're going to get into a few topics that I think are important. The top of the list today, what do we have? We have, so I want to talk about first, I'm going to start off with my hot take. I was going to save this for later. I got a hot take, y'all. And I don't know if you're going to agree with me. I don't even know if the people that I'm about to mention by name are going to agree with me. But I don't really care. So it is what it is. HYROX doubles. I want to see a doubles team representing the United States, drum roll, of Hunter McIntyre and David Magida. I think these two individuals should team up for HYROX doubles this season. The reason I think this is because a lot of people don't know that, these guys were on the Spartan Pro team together. They were teammates. I'm not going to act like I know their personal history per se. Obviously, I work out at Magida's gym, but he doesn't really talk about Hunter like that. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like a topic of conversation. He knows them. They know each other. But obviously, there's a lot of media out there. There's a lot of trash talking between the two of them for whatever reason. And I like that. I think it's something that, it causes controversy. It's entertainment value, right? Why do you think we like guys like Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor? So I want to see them team up for HYROX doubles this season. If you think that we're talking about progression of the sport, progression of the industry, this storyline, I think is going to be something that if they hear this, if they listen to it, then maybe they'll consider it. The chip on the shoulder guy. These two dudes have a chip on their shoulder. They're not the same athlete. They both have their own strengths and weaknesses. But I do think when you have two individuals with the history, if you put them shoulder to shoulder on the same team, they're not going to let the other one carry the race, right? And I think we could see a record-breaking time if these two individuals join forces and do a HYROX Men's Double. They'll probably do a time that is impossible for anybody from another country if they were to team up with two individuals from the UK, two individuals from Germany. I don't see them beating these two guys if they were to team up. Now, again, you guys can hear this. You can be like, well, what does this guy know? Hey, don't be a baby. If you think it's not relevant, if you think that it wouldn't be a good race, then just say that. But if you know what I know, and if you don't want to be a baby, you'll consider it. You'll get on a call together and you will have this conversation, Mr. McIntyre and Mr. Magida. Eminem, right? So that's the team. We're going to call it Eminem 2024. I'm predicting it. We're going to get these two guys to do a HYROX Men's Double to set a record that is going to be impossible to break. The two chips on the shoulders, the chip M&Ms. So that is my love-hate relationship prediction for 2024. And we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? So if anybody out there hears this and you agree with it, I think you should share this video with them. And tag them in the video or whatever. It's a podcast, obviously, and it's going to be audio, but share it with them because I think if they want to have a headline, they'll do this. If they want to progress the eyes on the fitness racing, the HYROX space, this is something that they will do. They will agree to. Now, I'm not saying they gotta say, you know what, we're going to be the best friends for the rest of our lives because we did this. But this is something that I think they should consider. So do it in the time where you still have the ability to push the limits. Don't wait until you're 48 years old, right? And be like, man, I wonder what would have happened. And I'm not, so again, these two athletes have their own strengths and weaknesses. They're not the same person. But when it comes to, there's other athletes in the U.S. that I would also say, like, oh, if this person team up with this person, they would also be, in a potentially record-setting time where it will be hard to break. But I think it's different when you have this type of weird relationship, when you got guys flicking guys off on a race course in the elite races at world championships. You got people talking trash on different platforms and things like that. And so let's just mix it up. Maybe this prediction will get into their ears, right? So anyway, that's my hot take. So I started off with that. Now let's move on. DecaFit. So I did a DecaFit teams. I did a Deca Strong and a Deca Mile. So something happened with the registration, but my partner for both was Eric. You heard me talk about Eric before on here. Fast guy, second place overall in HYROX New York. First place in the age group. So we teamed up and we had a Deca Strong teams time of 10:21 and a Deca Mile time of 16:11. But he also did the Deca Mile team with David Magida, and they had at the time, I think, the second fastest time ever in the gym. And I'm gonna be honest, the run was downhill then up a hill, so it's not like a flat run. It was horrible running up that hill. But him and I did a 16:11. That's the 10th. That was the 10th time, 10th place time at the time for the season. So, but I'm not going to race at the World Championship, even if I did qualify. So it is what it is. I told him just keep that time with Magida because I'm not going, because I'm racing in HYROX LA, and that's my primary focus. But I'm just putting it out there. That was our time, and feel good about that. That was a good time. He really pushed me, because it's good to have somebody there that's like that fit, that can bring out like the level of fitness that I was able to bring out during that particular race. But the reason I'm bringing up this Deca thing is you need to have, for next season, if anybody expects to qualify for a world championship place or a global ranking for potentially being accepted into the world championship, you need to record it on wide proof. I think that there's no way in 2023, 2024 that we should be allowing some of the things that I've seen on some videos where you got, for instance, you got guys not tagging their partner before the partner starts. You got people basically starting the other station before the person starts. And I've seen this on Instagram, on YouTube, at other gyms, right? So this is what I'm referring to. And these are some super fast times. But I'm like, wait a minute. So this person started the ski erg while the other person was still doing the other movement, right? That's crazy. I don't know how we think that that's like, obviously these gyms, there's no evidence of how these races are being held. And if you're going to have a legitimate race, you need to have some video only for the people who are putting up times where they're thinking that they're going to be competitive and be on the global stage. I'm not saying that look at the wide proof for every single time. Just look at the top times, but let everybody submit their times And then the top times, just keep going through the video and add the penalties when you need to add the penalties to the time and base it on that. But there's enough time in between now and the World Championship. The last time is September 24th, right? That you can race to qualify. It's this weekend. The World Championship is not until like December. There's enough time to verify if you did have wide-proof video. So, if, for those of you that don't know, wide-proof is an app that's utilized in like CrossFit and other, uh, fitness competitions where the recording of the athlete's actual, what they're submitting is viewed by a judge or by somebody. I've used it for when Hunter McIntyre did his OCR SARS. I used the Waterproof app, and you basically record your. They give you instructions. Record here. Make sure you can see the bar. Or make sure you can see this. So all I'm saying is for these athletes that have these crazy times, but I know like they shaving time on some BS. I'm gonna keep it. I don't care what anybody thinks. It is what it is. Um, we need to push to have this as the standard for DecaFit. So if you agree with me, I think you should also share this video or share, tell them that I put it out there. Say it on your own podcast, but there's literally no reason that this shouldn't be the standard. It's literally free. It's a free app. So you record it and then you send it. You can upload it to YouTube from the app. You can whatever in a private video. You can do it however you want to do it. But there's no reason not to use Waterproof for Deca Gym affiliate gym competitions. So that's it. There's no need to go deeper into that. But so I want to talk about another thing, and this is I'm going to talk about this partially, right? From I'm not going to get too deep into this. I'm only going to talk about one segment of what I'm about to get into. So I'm a business person, like a lot of people, depending on what space you work in. So this is just my mind when I think about fitness racing. I think about these companies. I think about like how are these businesses operating? What's going on? So there's a term business ecosystem. So let's look at what is a business ecosystem. So I'm looking at this definition. A business ecosystem is a purposeful business arrangement between two or more entities, the members, to create and share in collective value for a common set of customers. Every business ecosystem has participants, and at least one member acts as the orchestrator of the participants. All members in the business ecosystem, whether orchestrators or participants, have their brands present in the value proposition. So that's a lot, right? But it ain't that much. It's just you got relationships, you got these companies, you got HYROX, you got Deca, you got any other thing you want to point out, any other business. Everybody has to deal with somebody else. Nobody's working in isolation. The customers are part of the ecosystem, the suppliers, the distributors. How do these companies work with the local governments to put these races on? How to like Spartan getting all this land. They don't just like show up with a truck somewhere and they can just do these races. There's a lot of things that go into putting on these events. So not to go into the full breadth of what goes on into this, but I want to talk about some of the companies that are in the hybrid fitness space right now. This conversation is going to be more in tune with kind of the US market, but some of the brands I'm going to bring up are not just in the US market. And I'll start with Puma, right? Puma was the first company that I saw that was affiliated with HYROX. So Puma is a shoe and athletic apparel company most people know. So it's a legacy brand, right? I believe there's the Puma is the only company at that level that has a shoe deal with an athlete, with Hunter. I don't know the inner workings of that deal, but I know it's definitely a thing. He's mentioned it, but the details, I don't know the details. I don't know the contract or anything. But we do know they have at least invested into the opportunity of sponsoring an athlete, at least at the footwear, in the footwear standpoint. So that is Puma is a big brand mainly for the European space because in the United States we've had Virus Apparel be the company at least last season. I don't know right now like if that's going to be the company moving forward. Um, I know like the shirt I have on right now was a Virus shirt. I don't know where their logo is, but this shirt was the Las Vegas World Championship shirt from 2022. And basically, so Puma, Virus, those two apparel companies. Virus doesn't make sneakers, but I would say Puma is probably we all know Puma. But anyway, now another brand that's been affiliated with the space is GoRuck. So GoRuck is its own entity. It has its own events, but they have done these GoRuck HYROXs. I think there's like a Ruck. I don't think it's affiliated with GoRuck, but I know DECA's doing like a Ruck version of DECA. But GoRuck has a literal race that's a HYROX GoRuck race. I did the first one and it's horrible, but it's it's cool, man. I have a GoRuck vest here, and but they've invested in the idea of HYROX. They've been a part of the HYROX experience in the United States. It's not a thing in Europe, but in the U.S., GoRuck is affiliated with HYROX. Um, and GoRuck has all types of apparel. They have events. Um, they have their own like selection, special forces style thing they got going on. I mean, it's a pretty dope company. I'm prior military, so like a lot of the things I see, GoRuck. I mean, I can associate with not prior special forces, but you get what I'm saying. So, uh, what else do we have here? We got Alex and Dave. This Alex and Dave is the equipment wholesale company that co-brands all of the HYROX equipment, like the kettlebells. This is, I believe, it might just be in the U.S., but kettlebells and the sandbags and the plates and all that stuff. It's Alex and Dave. So big, equipment wholesale company. And then also we have Concept Two. Concept Two is not a U.S. company, but Concept Two is the erg company. They do the ski ergs, the bike ergs, and the rower. So that's another equipment source for this space. And you see this erg Concept Two ergs are in HYROX. They're in uh, most of the fitness competitions use Concept Two ergs. DECA, uh, Hypercon is using Concept Two equipment. So again, the two equipment companies is Alex and Dave and Concept Two ergs. So the supplement companies, I've seen multiple supplement companies at different HYROX events, but the only one that I saw that was directly linked to the United States HYROX website was Gainful. So Gainful is a company that they have supplements that are sold in Target, but they sell protein and pre-workout and all these different things. Uh, and I think their pre-workout is like maybe caffeine free, at least the one they had at HYROX in New York. And it wasn't that bad actually. It was pretty good. I don't do pre-workout like that, so I did talk to the rep at that event and just asked what was in it, and they showed me the ingredients because I don't do caffeine unless it's coffee before a workout. I don't think in terms of doing endurance sports, I don't know if it's necessary to do caffeine. Now, beta alanine and some other things could maybe benefit you, and I know they had that in the product, um, but yeah. So Gainful, and they also have another. They're doing like one-on-one nutrition guidance through HYROX, so you can basically like connect with somebody from their company through HYROX. So Gainful, it's gainful.com/HYROX. Powerlift, PWR Lift. Powerlift, you might have seen Powerlift at a HYROX, you might have seen it at a DECA, uh, and you might have seen this at like affiliate gyms. Here, I know a few athletes in the Elite 15 are sponsored by Powerlift in some capacity. I don't know whether it's just product, if it's an ambassador program through the elites, or if they're actually, getting paid if they podium. I know there's a lot of the situations that are set up with some of the athletes at that level aren't necessarily like big upfront money, but they do get money for competing in certain races. And if they podium, they get money. So it's like a plus up for performance. So powerlift is definitely a big player in the fitness racing space, being the official drink of HYROX and DecaFit. So the big dogs in the space. So uh, what else do we have? So a couple companies that I'm going to point out. These are more so affiliated with individual athletes and not necessarily the racing companies. You have Represent 24/7. So this is Hunter McIntyre is I don't know the details of his deal with them, but he's sponsored by them. There's content with him on their website. He's wearing a lot of their apparel in different capacities, but they're more of a streetwear brand. So, and I think they're based in the UK, but basically this brand, they got some pretty cool apparel. It's not specific to necessarily like athletic wear, but it's streetwear. So, um, but yeah, they've invested into the ecosystem, right? So I'm pointing out these companies because I'm like, who's paying attention? What type of companies think that it's at its value in this space with some of these athletes? So Represent 24/7. And I think they, yeah, you just check his stuff out. You probably will see him wearing it somewhere. So I think a bigger name because it's in the United States. This company is 10,000. I wear 10,000 apparel. I have multiple 10,000 apparel products that I train in, that I race in. I think their material from all of the workout gear that I have, that's pretty much like the best quality material that I've worn so far in this space. And the way I would describe 10,000 is like minimalist. It's like minimalist, and I think they have like a tactical side, but it's a very minimalist brand. They do have this X on some of their shorts or some of their apparel, but a lot of it's just like a single color, and they're more focused on like the quality. It's kind of like I don't want to consider it Lululemon. It's not Lululemon, but it's like the tactical Lululemon, right? So but it's pretty dope. They got good colorways, and if you're not worried about having all these combined colors, but you just like want the green or the black or whatever, you could mix and match the stuff, and it's a good fit too because they have different styles of shorts. So, if you're more muscular in your legs, you might not wear the same short that another athlete's wearing, but they have shorts. Like I don't like getting shorts that have tights in them, so I wear my own tights. Um, but they do have the shorts with like the liners in them, right? So it's whatever floats your boat, right? I'm not getting to your underwear selection. So, but anyway, 10,000. A lot of the U.S. Elite women, and I don't know if any women are sponsored by 10,000. Some of these brands, I need to start investing into these the women athletes if you're not already. But I know the Ryan Kent, Rich Ryan, David Magida. Um, I don't know who else, but I know they were in the last World Championship. They definitely were wearing 10,000. It was something I had not seen. I know there was like the brand was on the X was here in the middle of the chest. It was small, but I hadn't seen that anywhere else except for what these guys wore at that particular race. But I know they're definitely sponsored in some form or fashion by them, and they have like discount codes and whatnot. So, but they're definitely investing into the space. I know Eric Hinman, I believe his name is. He's competed in multiple HYROX. He was at the first HYROX that I ever went to and came in third place. And he's a prior Ironman athlete, multiple Ironmans at the pro level, and um, but yeah, so he's definitely like a main face of the 10,000 brand. But yeah, so again, that's just this segment is only, I'm not going to get into the whole ecosystem. I'm just talking about some of the players who are involved in the space, from the players who's directly connected to the race companies and some of the brands that are sponsoring the athletes. There's plenty more, other sponsors, and there's some CBD brands and some other supplement brands. I've seen some European athletes with shoe or apparel sponsors that I've never heard of the apparel company, but you know, there's somebody out there. So I think this is something for anybody that's curious about investing into maybe developing your own brand or your own product or having a service within the space. I think it's good to know about this information, and do your own research, see what else is out there. But there's definitely people investing into the athletes into the racing space. So, um, but yeah. So anyway, moving along. Following up with that, I'm just gonna to wrap this thing up with what workouts have I been doing. So I'm still in the base building period. My next event is going to be a 100-mile bike ride. I've talked about this on the previous podcast. It's coming up in about a month. And right now, I don't necessarily have all the time to just do like these 4 hour plus bike rides. But what I've been doing is brick work, like duathlon or whatever it's called, style workouts where it's a run and a bike. So today I did a 5K into a 1 hour interval session on the bike at Haynes Point here in DC, where basically it's 5 minutes at 60%, 5 minutes at 80%, and you just keep going back and forth between the perceived effort, right? Um, and that's a good workout. So, and then I finished it off with the 5K run. So my first 5K run was much slower than my last 5K run. The goal isn't to do the whole day fast. The goal is to push yourself. So I really only pushed myself on the last 2 miles of the last 5K, um, where I was probably running like a sub 8, but I don't know the exact time. It was like a 7:30, 7:40, or something like that, for those miles. But this is literally a 2 hour workout, right? So sure, I could go run for 2 hours, but it will really beat my body up if I go run for 2 hours. So the goal is to mix it up. Start with the run, go eat. I actually ate at in between the first two workouts. I brought in a few little pieces of shrimp that I cooked last night and a half a sweet potato because I knew I was going to get on the bike. So if I knew I was running, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't eat in the middle of a run, but I will run and get on the bike because now I'm just seated for an hour. So it's enough time for me to burn through that sweet potato. And like, I didn't have a lot of shrimp. It was just like a few pieces just to get something in, solid in my system. And it definitely was a good workout. So the workouts that I've been doing, the 50-minute cut down runs where I start slow and increase every 5 minutes, definitely that last 10 minutes of that workout, I can see how that's been benefiting me based on today's workout and how I was able to hold for the last 2 miles of my 5K today, how I was able to hold that pace. Um, yeah, I think that's something for a lot of you out there where you're trying to balance hybrid training out. I don't think you need to just run all the time. Depending on your background, if you have an endurance background, maybe you don't have to do what I'm doing, right? Maybe you can just focus on doing your track workouts and doing some high intensity work, HYROX style, sim style workouts. But for me, my focus in the meantime is to build my endurance and build it effectively without beating my body up and trying to do everything on the same day at the same time and blah 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 blah. So anyway, it was a good day. I feel good. I had to come in and basically try to cook before I jumped on this previous podcast where I was, a guest on that one, and I basically decided, let me get this content out here before, since I got everything set up, let me get this thing recorded. So anyway, that's all we got for today. I think that's enough. And I'm glad you tuned in to Now Until Up. I'm Vic Purcell. If you want to listen to some instrumental music, Vic the Genius on Spotify or iTunes or whatever you get your streaming music. You can also use some of those instrumentals on your reels on Instagram and whatnot. This is searchable. Just search Vic the Genius, right? Some cool tracks. So anyway, Now Until Up, episode 10, we out. Peace.